I was in a secret relationship with my friend's younger brother for 5 years. He was a full 9 years younger than me and often took advantage of his youth, acting arbitrarily. Whenever I felt he went too far, he would look at me with a pitiful gaze. "You promised back then that you'd tolerate everything about me, including my reckless behavior." On his birthday, I planned to surprise him, but instead, I overheard his conversation with his friends. "Ethan, are you really going to hand Sophia over to us brothers in 10 days? We're all really looking forward to it. You're not kidding, right?" Facing the jokes and flattery of the crowd, Ethan, like an arrogant prince, said coldly, "Just an old woman. I can throw her to any of you. Besides, you know I truly like her sister. She's nothing more than a valuable toy in my hands." My heart nearly stopped. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mind was buzzing blankly. The weight of that moment pressed down on me, making me almost forget that I was still alive, that I could still breathe. The sounds of laughter from inside the room drifted out again. Chloe was born to Mr. Davis and Victoria. Because her mother used to be a dancer, the Davis family looks down on both of them and often bullies Chloe maliciously. Especially Sophia. To prevent Chloe from getting her hands on the family business, she used all sorts of despicable methods to suppress Chloe. Now that Ethan is treating her like this, she's getting what she deserves. Using the sister for practice, then sacrificing her to the brothers, and finally giving everything he gets from her to the younger sister to help her rise. TSK, these tactics. I admire no one but Ethan. Ethan, don't worry. When you hand Sophia over to me, I'll make her suffer. Such an arrogant woman. Now she'll have to pay the price for her pride. But honestly, besides being a bit older, she's flawless in every other aspect. It's a shame Oh, ruin her like this. Amidst the unrestrained laughter, Ethan's voice was particularly jarring. "Brothers, be patient. Eat well and replenish yourselves. In 10 days, I'll make sure you all have your fill. I have only one condition: the highlights of Sophia with each of you will be made into videos, and I'll post them online for auction. I want to personally destroy Sophia, so she can never be a stepping stone for Chloe again." Ethan's mocking voice was like an invisible hand reaching into my chest, tearing my wound inch by inch, cruel and merciless. The pain made me feel as though I were in hell, almost fainting. I used my last ounce of strength to run, as if one moment slower would mean being caught by a devil and cruelly thrown into boiling oil. 5 years ago, I met Ethan while working on a project with his brother. At the time, he was still a university student. His youthful, handsome appearance left a deep impression on me. After we met, he proactively added my contact information. He was blunt and asked if I had a boyfriend. I just saw him as a naive younger guy and didn't think much of it. But I didn't expect him to be serious. During a business event, I drank a lot, and he offered to take me home. Once we arrived at my place, he boldly started exploring, and I couldn't struggle because I was drunk. The next day, I woke up knowing that what shouldn't have happened had happened. I forced myself to be calm and told him to leave quickly, pretending it never happened. But he clung to me stubbornly, a wicked smile on his lips. "What's wrong, Sophia? Are you planning to sleep with me and not take responsibility? Are women that heartless too?" I was speechless for a moment, but then he tried to touch me again. Enraged and embarrassed, I kicked him out. But that same night, he sent me many photos of us intimately intertwined. "You don't want these to be seen by others, do you?" "I don't mind these TOS being exposed, but don't you mind?" Furious at his shamelessness, I asked him what he wanted. He invited me to meet him. That night, I got drunk again and was at his mercy. Later, I started avoiding him. But he smashed my window late at night and came into my room. For some reason, without even realizing it, I actually fell for his wild and unrestrained nature. Gradually, he became more and more reckless with me. Eventually, I ended up with him. For 5 years, we lived almost like a married couple, spending countless days and nights together, countless intimate moments. So much so that I naively believed he was my man. But I never could have imagined that he only saw me as a valuable toy to be exploited. and I certainly never imagined that he truly loved Chloe, and to get Chloe, he would personally destroy me as a token of his sincerity to her. Returning home, I felt cold all over, as if I had fallen into an ice cavern. I hid under the bed covers, even turning on the air conditioning/heater, but I couldn't stop trembling. My phone rang. Seeing David's name, I hesitated to answer. He was that friend of mine, Ethan's brother. David's calls kept coming. Finally, on the 6th ring, I answered. He said something that shocked me. I have some unfortunate news. The Davis family and the Miller family are planning a family alliance/merger through marriage, and you and I, as the eldest daughter and eldest son of the families, naturally became the sacrifices. I listened to David in disbelief. Seeing my silence, David spoke again. I know you're surprised. I was also shocked when I first heard about the family's decision, especially since we've been friends for so many years. But actually, I've never told you, I'm in love with you. I just didn't know how you felt, so I never dared to say it. If you don't want to. Before David could continue expressing his feelings, I made a certain decision. And interrupted him. If you're willing, I agree to marry you. For me, this was quite good. Ethan had always treated me as a tool, even wanting to destroy me as a declaration of love for Chloe. Since that was the case, why not proactively become his sister-in-law? With this status, I was actually looking forward to seeing what else he, my future brother-in-law, could do that would be even more outrageous. Chapter 2. My answer made David a little excited. Sophia, are you really willing? Am I dreaming? I smiled slightly. Perhaps this is fate for you and me. I actually feel like I'm the one who's dreaming. Yes, it was a dream. I never thought this day would come, that Ethan would cruelly abandon me, and even meticulously design a plan to destroy me. And I was about to become his sister-in-law. I talked with David for a long time. After hanging up the phone, my heart was like the waves on the sea, unable to calm down. I went to the wine cellar and took out a bottle of red wine. I had treasured this bottle since I was young. I had originally planned to open it and enjoy it with my groom on my wedding day. But now, there was no need for that. I didn't know how much I drank by myself. Feeling hazy, I heard Ethan's footsteps returning. I checked the time. It was already late at night. Since we had been living together, he often stayed out late like this, carousing until the early hours. In the past, I would always call to urge him to come home earlier. Sometimes, worried about him messing around outside, I would drive to pick him up and keep an eye on him. But this time, I acted as if I didn't notice his return and continued drinking by myself. Ethan saw me ignoring him and frowned slightly in surprise, even deliberately clearing his throat. Seeing that I still didn't acknowledge his presence, he looked very uncomfortable and walked up to me proactively. Did I come back late again and make you unhappy? I remained silent. He looked at me with surprise. Is my little wildcat angry? Didn't we agree that you would tolerate my recklessness? All right, I apologize, okay? Could it be that today is some important day? I found it incredibly ironic. I looked calmly at Ethan, but a hard-to-describe ache appeared in my heart again. Seeing that I still didn't answer, Ethan picked me up directly. You little wildcat, just one day without punishing you, and you ignore me? Looks like I'll have to give you a good lesson tonight. In the past, I might have had a primal dependence on him. I might even have liked the feeling of his recklessness towards me. But now, being held by him, I felt a strong resistance. I immediately refused him. Don't touch me, I'm very tired. Ethan thought I was playing hard to get and patted me. That won't do. Tonight, I have to let you know how potent your man is. He was about to hold me again. I slapped him hard across the face. That slap stunned Ethan. What is the meaning of this? I looked at him calmly. I am your future sister-in-law. But I wouldn't tell him that. Just as he wouldn't tell me that he liked my sister. And that he stayed by my side simply using me as a tool, planning to personally destroy me at the right time and use it as a token of his sincerity for Chloe. It means nothing. I'm just very uncomfortable today. It's as simple as that. Don't overthink it. I didn't want to explain further and got up to go to my room. Ethan wanted to follow me in, but I stopped him at the door. I don't want to be disturbed tonight. You sleep next door. After we got together, no matter how reckless Ethan was, I would try my best to satisfy him. My current coldness towards him was something Ethan had never experienced. He was very uncomfortable and also furious. Sophia, what are you doing? Can you sleep without me at night? Without my arms, Dawn? Do you lack a sense of security? Without my company, can you even live? His series of questions were all things I had said in the past. But now, hearing these words from his own mouth, they were so laughable and ironic. I leaned against the doorframe and smiled bitterly. Don't worry, I can live without you. Without you, maybe it's even better. Chapter 3. Ethan paced outside the door for a long time before finally leaving. That night, I actually slept very soundly. It turned out that without him, nothing really changed. In fact, I could sleep better. I was woken up by my phone early in the morning. It was Chloe calling. She was the daughter of my father and Victoria. But she also harbored crazy ambition. She was very manipulative, deliberately provoking me when we were young, making me lose my temper at her, and then gaining the sympathy of Dad and Victoria. As the eldest daughter of the Davis family, I thoroughly disliked her underhanded tactics. When she grew up, she wanted to get involved in the family business and join the management. But she had no experience, so of course, I didn't agree. I suggested she study abroad for a while and then start from the bottom. But she thought I was suppressing her and looking down on her. I should have realized long ago that a scheming bitch like her wouldn't be peaceful even abroad. I answered the call, and Chloe's falsely sweet voice came through. Sophia, miss me? I came back home today. I miss you, Dad, and Victoria so much. Sophia, are you coming to the airport to pick me up? Of course, I didn't want to pick her up. I'm busy with work. Be careful on your way. I hung up the phone and got up to leave the room, where I happened to run into Ethan. He saw me and snorted dismissively. Didn't sleep well last night, huh? He was still angry. In the past, because he was younger, I would often take care of his emotions, even coaxing him. But now, that kind of thing wouldn't happen anymore. Just as I was about to turn around, Ethan grabbed me. His eyes fixated on a certain part of my body, and he said with desire, "We haven't showered together in a long time." No. I pushed his hand away and quickly escaped. Behind me, I heard Ethan's dissatisfied yell, "Sophia, you'll regret this." Regret? What a ridiculous thing to say. For some reason, my indifference made Ethan very anxious. He kept appearing before me from time to time, as if deliberately showing his face to get my attention. It wasn't until the evening that he insisted on dragging me out. Along the way, I, who used to love telling Ethan about trivial matters, remained silent. He tried to speak several times but eventually closed his mouth. We finally stopped the car at the airport. He looked at me with a resentful gaze and couldn't help but ask, "Sophia, you've been acting very strange lately?" "Ethan! Over here, I'm over here." Before I could answer, a falsely sweet voice came from a distance. It was Chloe. Ethan seemed to instantly forget my existence and rushed towards her. "Thank you for coming to pick me up." Chloe smiled happily, but when she saw me, her expression shifted slightly. She forced an unnatural smile. "Oh? Sophia, you're here too? Didn't you say you weren't coming to pick me up?" Ethan seemed to just remember my presence. He looked at Chloe, then at me, and explained, "I dragged her along to be our driver." Chloe smiled slyly. "How long have you two known each other? Could it be you two are?" "No." Before Chloe could finish her guess, Ethan immediately interrupted, "Sophia and I are just normal friends. Don't overthink it." Hearing Ethan's words, I felt like there was a lump in my throat, making it hard to breathe. It was only now that I truly understood. Ethan didn't want to make our relationship public simply because he wanted Chloe. After hearing the explanation, Chloe glanced at me with a teasing look and smiled. "That's what I thought. You two have such a big age gap, you're not a match." "Yes, we're definitely not a match," I said calmly. Ethan's expression visibly changed, but he quickly masked it. Ethan and a few friends held a welcome party for Chloe at a bar. I wanted to leave, but Chloe grabbed me. Sophia, if you don't have anything else to do, join us. Everyone inside is my classmate or friend, no outsiders. I regretted it the moment I stepped inside. Chloe and her friends were having a blast, but they were all subtly isolating me, making me feel out of place. After a few drinks, I went to the restroom alone. Voices came from outside. Where did Sophia disappear to without a word? Could it be she saw Ethan and Chloe being close and got angry and left? It's funny, speaking of that. She's been infatuated with Ethan for so many years, she'd probably never imagined that Ethan truly liked her sister, huh? Ha ha. An old woman like her, how could Ethan be interested? He's just using her as a plaything for casual release. You can't say that. I actually think Sophia has quite a bit of mature woman appeal/charm. Ha ha. Speaking of which, let me tell you a little secret. Ethan plans to, before dumping her, mess her up and then hand her over to his brothers to enjoy themselves. Really? Ethan said it himself. He also said he wants to personally destroy Sophia and make Sophia a stepping stone for Chloe to gain power in the Davis family. I clenched my fists, wanting to rush out. But just then, the two voices suddenly changed. Shoo, Chloe is coming. Don't hide, I heard everything. Chloe's voice came. Chapter 4. Seeing Chloe appear and having heard everything, Sarah and Jessica smiled awkwardly. Chloe, we were just talking nonsense. Chloe interrupted their apologies and said casually, it's fine. I don't care at all what you think. Oh. F. Sophia. I never even acknowledged having a sister like her. But what you said about Ethan planning to deal with Sophia, I'm very interested. Tell me about it? Sarah and Jessica's eyes immediately lit up. They spoke one after another. This is all what Ethan's friends said. They said Ethan will get Sophia drunk in 10 days and send her to his brothers to have their way with her, but with one condition: everything will be made into videos and then auctioned online. They also said Ethan will personally destroy Sophia, and he's doing all of this entirely for you, Chloe. Chloe listened to this and sneered coldly. Ethan better keep his word. I'm looking forward to it. Each cold word pierced me. I felt like my heart was being ripped apart, the pain making me almost wish for death. I returned to the party. Chloe greeted me with a falsely innocent expression. Sophia, where did you go just now? We're planning to play truth or dare. Are you joining us? No need, you guys play. Facing her hypocritical invitation, I turned and left. Back at home, I immediately contacted Michael, my assistant, and asked him to investigate everything Chloe had done overseas over the years. On Victoria's birthday, I went home to celebrate. When I arrived, the house was filled with laughter. I gave Victoria the gift I had prepared in advance. Victoria, happy birthday. Many happy returns. The cheerful atmosphere seemed to cease because of my arrival. Victoria gave me a cold look. Many happy returns? Aren't you hoping that Chloe and I will leave this house soon, so you don't have to compete for the inheritance? Her sudden attack caused everyone to look at me with cold eyes. I shook my head and said, I came to celebrate your birthday. Why are you so suspicious of me? You'd be that kind? If you were that kind, would you hire someone to investigate my daughter? Victoria slammed a stack of photos onto my face. Then, in front of everyone, she played a recording of my conversation with Michael. The eyes of those around me turned to scrutinize me, one by one. I looked back in disbelief at Michael, the assistant who had been with me since I started working. I never expected that even he would betray me and become Victoria's spy. Thinking back, I was too naive. Victoria and Chloe had been planning everything for a long time. And I, the eldest daughter of the Davis family, was naturally the thorn in their side as they sought control of the family. You disappoint me greatly. My father's familiar voice came from behind. I turned around and immediately tried to explain. Dad, it's not like that, The evidence is overwhelming. What more do you have to explain? My father had never been so angry. He pointed at the recording and photos. We are a family, yet you are constantly scheming against your own relatives. You truly send shivers down my spine and break my heart. I stared at my father in shock. I couldn't imagine that things had escalated to this point. At this moment, Chloe put on a facade of being a good girl and tried to smooth things over. Dad, Victoria, don't blame Sophia. Perhaps Sophia was investigating me for my own good, worried I'd be bullied alone overseas. She seemed to be helping me, but in reality, she was making me look even more pathetic. Sure enough, her words made my father's eyes even colder. Look at your sister. Even after all this, she's still speaking up for you, yet you've been scheming against her all along. Don't you feel ashamed? Seeing that I didn't speak, my father sighed deeply. Leave. This house can no longer accommodate you. Was he kicking me out of the house? When the blizzard came, everything collapsed so quickly. I was defeated, utterly and completely, without even a chance to explain. As I was leaving, Ethan happened to arrive. We passed each other. Back at my place, I called David and asked him to come see me. While waiting, I casually picked up a glass of water on the table and drank it down. Looking at the furnishings around the room, scenes with Ethan couldn't help but flash through my mind. He and my family should have been my whole life. But now, everything had taken a drastic turn. Everything that should have belonged to me was gone. How ironic reality was. Well, there was nothing left to long for here. I started looking for a bag, intending to throw away everything that belonged to Ethan. But the next moment, I felt dizzy, my eyelids became heavy, and an overwhelming sleepiness washed over me like a tide. How can I be so sleepy? My gaze fell on the glass of water I had just drunk. It was that glass of water. Who had tampered with the water? In my haze, I heard the door open, followed by the sound of many footsteps. Sophia was really completely unprepared. I suddenly find her adorably naive. We have Chloe to thank for this. According to Ethan's original plan, we would have had to wait another week to enjoy ourselves, but Chloe moved the plan up. Did Chloe have any other requests? Her only request was that we absolutely must not show Sophia any mercy, to be as cruel as possible, and of course, to record a copy for her to enjoy. That's her own sister. Chloe is really ruthless. Don't say that. We should thank her. Otherwise, how could we get such a beautiful CEO? Hurry, set up the equipment, let's start. I can't wait. Listening to the voices around me, I desperately wanted to resist, but I couldn't even open my eyelids. I could only lie there at their mercy. A feeling of despair and fear enveloped me. I had already lost everything, even been kicked out of the Davis family home, but I never expected they still wouldn't let me go. Just as I was losing consciousness, another set of urgent footsteps approached. Ethan? It's Ethan. Ethan, shouldn't you be at the Davis family birthday celebration right now? Why are you back? Ethan, just leave this to us, you don't need to bother. Chapter 5 You scoundrels. Who told you to do this? Get out, all of you. Don't touch Sophia. Ethan sounded furious. The people around explained. Ethan? What's wrong? Isn't this all part of the plan? Ethan was enraged. When did I ever agree to this plan? Someone explained. Chloe said you agreed. She said it was just moving the plan up a bit, and that you going to the Davis family birthday celebration was to create an opportunity for us. Yeah, Chloe also said that after this is done, we'll auction the videos, which will not only make us a fortune but also completely ruin Sophia's reputation, leaving her no place to stand in the future. Chloe said you supported this too. Listening to their argument, I finally understood. It turned out my good sister intended to utterly destroy me, delivering the final, fatal blow. I desperately wanted to struggle, to get up. But at that moment, I couldn't even open my eyes. I could only surrender to fate. Gradually, even my last bit of consciousness began to fade. How I longed to scream for help. But I couldn't do it. I woke up the next day to find myself in my room. I quickly sat up and checked myself. It seemed nothing had happened to my body, only my clothes had been changed. I didn't know if those men had done anything vile to me, or how Ethan had handled things in the end. Thinking of this, I felt a shudder run through me, unable to stop trembling. Just as I was about to get up, I saw Ethan approaching with a tray of breakfast. He reached out and gently pressed me back down, telling me to stay put in bed. Then he picked up the breakfast tray, apparently intending to feed me. If I hadn't pinched myself hard, I would have thought I was dreaming. Shouldn't he be with Chloe, ruining my reputation and trying to kill me? Why was he suddenly so gentle? Could it be that he hadn't finished playing his game yet? Did he want to do something even more sinister, more cruel to me? I couldn't believe it. I looked at the oatmeal on the spoon before me, even momentarily thinking there must be poison in it. Otherwise, how could Ethan be so kind? What's wrong? Don't have an appetite? Don't want to eat? Ethan asked. Sunlight shone on his face, making him look very bright and cheerful. He smiled gently, as if nothing had happened yesterday. I lowered my head and said, I've always been the one taking care of you. It's a bit hard to get used to you taking care of me like this. You'll get used to it, Ethan smiled slightly. After you marry me, I'll make this the norm. His words shocked me. Wasn't he supposed to try to kill me and then live happily ever after with Chloe? What new game was he playing now? Before I could think further, he took out a wedding ring and a diary/journal. It was the wedding ring I had bought early last year, and my journal where I had recorded things over the years. Give it back! I immediately snatched the journal back. Ethan chuckled happily. I read all your entries. I shook my head. You shouldn't have. Ethan frowned slightly. You endured so much for me. Why didn't you ever tell me? I didn't answer him. But he continued speaking to himself. Now I completely understand. And I understand who the person I truly should spend my life with is. I was a complete jerk before, but from now on, I'll save all the gentleness in my life for you. What was this? Was it his repentance? But he clearly loved Chloe, not me. I stared at Ethan in a daze, and in a trance, scenes from the past appeared in my mind. Him sitting on the balcony, smiling foolishly as he watched me drink coffee. Him lying next to me, telling me stories. Him cooking in the kitchen. For me sneaking up behind him and hugging him, teasing and refusing to let go. Countless moments together over 5 years. Bits and pieces of memories. But the next moment, I saw Chloe's sinister face seemingly appear behind him again. Chapter 6. I instinctively pushed Ethan away. Caught off guard, he stumbled and fell onto the floor. I didn't hesitate for a second. Ignoring my lack of shoes, I ran outside as fast as I could. But as soon as I reached downstairs, Ethan caught up and pulled me into a tight hug. Sophia, I'm sorry. Last night's events weren't my doing. It was Chloe. That bitch wanted to harm you. Luckily, I got back in time and you weren't hurt. Ethan held me tightly, constantly explaining in my ear. But I couldn't hear a word of it. I struggled with all my might. Let go of me. You devil. You were in on it with them. All of you were in on it. Ethan's body stiffened for a moment. I seized the chance to break free from his arms. He recovered and said, Sophia, listen to me. I can explain. Slap. I slapped him hard across the face. I already know everything. After all this, do you think there's any need for you to explain? My slap and my question silenced Ethan. I turned and left. This time, he didn't try to stop me, just stood there blankly. After leaving the mansion, I stayed at a 5-star hotel. Only there did I feel a semblance of security. Late that night, there was a knock at the door. Through the peephole, I saw David standing outside. I opened the door, and David hugged me tightly. I heard about you being kicked out of the Davis family. I trembled slightly. I'm not the Davis family's eldest daughter anymore. Do you still want to go through with the family alliance/merger through marriage? Of course. David answered without hesitation. I love you, not your status as the Davis family's eldest daughter. No matter what happens to you, I will marry you. I wasn't someone who cried easily. But this time, I wept. Perhaps I was crying for being so foolish. For so many years, I had failed to see that David was the one who truly loved me, and instead, I had foolishly chosen Ethan. The next day, I went to David's place with him. As soon as we entered, I saw Ethan waiting in the living room. Seeing me holding hands with David, Ethan stared blankly, words hovering on his lips, but he couldn't utter them. David smiled and walked forward. Little brother, what brings you to my place so early? I Ethan glanced at me intentionally or unintentionally. David saw this and smiled. Haha. I forgot to introduce you. This is Sophia. You'll be calling her sister-in-law soon. What? Ethan looked at David and me in shock. David laughed. Little brother, why are you so surprised? Does me being with Sophia shock you that much? But I suppose it is a bit sudden. I'll take Sophia upstairs first. I need to change, and then I'll take Sophia to look at wedding dresses and rings. You can tell me what you need later. David led me upstairs. He completely failed to notice Ethan's pale face and the cold sweat on his forehead. When David and I came back downstairs, Ethan was no longer there. David frowned, then explained to me, my younger brother is just like that. I spoiled him since he was little. He has no respect for authority. I'll have a good talk with him later. Please don't mind him. I won't mind. I smiled calmly. Of course, I wouldn't mind. I understood him. I understood him better than David did. Chapter 7. In the evening, David drove me home. When we arrived at the mansion, I shook my head. Please take me back to the hotel. I don't want to stay here. Don't worry too much about the Davis family matters. I will definitely get justice for you. David offered words of comfort. He thought I didn't want to come back because of the Davis family situation. But in reality, this mansion was one I bought with my own money after I started working. It had nothing to do with the Davis family. I didn't want to come back because the place was filled with Ethan's scent and memories. At the same time, I was worried that Ethan might be waiting for me here. I never wanted to see him again, especially not alone. After returning to the hotel, I immediately contacted a friend and asked her to help me arrange the sale of that mansion. I was busy for a long time, and it was already late at night. But when I lay down, I couldn't fall asleep no matter what. Ethan's expression when he saw me with David kept appearing in my mind. While I was lost in thought, my phone rang. It was Ethan calling. I immediately rejected the call. But Ethan called again. I thought for a moment and decided to answer. What is it? Ethan's voice came through. Sophia, I know you're just getting back at me by being with my brother, aren't you? Hearing Ethan's question, I found it laughable. You're too arrogant. You're lying to me. Ethan's emotions seemed somewhat out of control. You definitely still like me. I shook my head. Ethan, stop deceiving yourself. I don't like you anymore. David and I are together because we love each other. It has nothing to do with you. Also, please don't call me Sophia anymore. You should address me as sister-in-law. And please don't call me late at night anymore. I'm afraid David will misunderstand. All right, goodbye. Without waiting for his reply, I hung up the phone. For some reason, I couldn't sleep before, but after taking that call from Ethan, I slept very peacefully. A few days later, my birthday arrived. David hosted a grand birthday gala/celebration for me, inviting many prominent figures from Riverside Heights, including the Davis family. Ethan and his friends were the first to arrive. His friends gathered around Ethan, talking non-stop. That Sophia is really shameless. She hooked up with your brother so quickly. Ethan, you shouldn't have stopped us that night. Otherwise, would this have happened today? Yeah, Ethan, you shouldn't have gone easy on that woman. If you had followed the plan, she would have been ruined reputation long ago. How could she have dumped you and become your sister-in-law? Ethan's face grew increasingly dark. Enough. Stop talking. A friend frowned. Ethan, for her to do this to you, it's making you a laughingstock. Are you still defending her? Could it be you actually like her now? Shut up. Ethan grabbed the man by the throat. If the others hadn't pulled him back, he would have choked him to death on the spot. After calming down, his friends seemed to understand Ethan's current feelings. Someone said, Ethan, the Davis family was also invited to the gala today. That Chloe is not someone to be trifled with. That last plan was Chloe who asked us to execute it early. I wonder if she'll suddenly pull something at the gala to embarrass Sophia? Ethan asked suspiciously. Embarrass her how? The friend said, it's simple. Sophia lived with you for so long, and now she's about to marry your brother. If Chloe brings this up at the gala, It's enough to make you, your brother, and Sophia all lose face. Ethan was furious. She wouldn't dare. But his friends didn't think so. With Chloe's ruthlessness/cruelty, she's definitely capable of doing something like that. Ethan, you need to be prepared. Better safe than sorry. If something like that happens, it won't just be an embarrassment for you and your brother, it will also make the Miller family the laughingstock of the circle. Just as Ethan fell silent, I proactively sent him a video. Chapter 8. The video was of me and Ethan being intimate. This video should have only been in Ethan's possession. Seeing T. He video, Ethan's face turned ashen. He immediately called me. What is the meaning of this? I said calmly, this video should only be with you. Now you're asking me what I mean? Don't you find it laughable? Having said that, I hung up the phone directly and then sent Ethan another video. There was no need for further words. Ethan stood frozen, his face growing even uglier. He knew very well that no one else could possibly have this video. He had only sent it to one person, Chloe. Now that the video had appeared in my hands, the implication was clear. Ethan immediately rushed into the gala venue with his friends. They were busy, setting something up. I watched, but didn't interfere. Soon, the guests arrived one after another. The Davis family had also appeared. Seeing me, Chloe put on an innocent facade and came forward with a smile. Sophia, congratulations. For you to be with someone as excellent as David, I'm sure countless girls in our circle are envious. Facing her hypocrisy, I had no desire to pretend, not even for a superficial show of politeness. I didn't want to give her that. I said directly, you've got the wrong person. I'm not your sister, and I don't have a disgusting sister like you. Rebuffed publicly by me, Chloe's face darkened. Victoria immediately joined in with sarcastic remarks, you brat. Don't think you can be arrogant just because you've hooked up with the Miller family. No matter how high you fly, don't forget, you're still part of my Davis family. Not anymore. I shook my head and looked at Victoria, my father, and Chloe. From this day forward, I am no longer a member of the Davis family in life, nor will I be buried in the Davis family plot/mausoleum in death. And David will not recognize you as his in-laws. This is the only condition under which I am willing to marry him. Their faces turned extremely ugly, but I couldn't be bothered with them and turned to leave. The gala was in full swing. As the atmosphere reached its peak, David appeared before me in formal attire. In front of everyone, he took out an engagement ring and proposed to me. That engagement ring, it looks like the Aurora pink. Wow, I heard someone paid $600 million for it a few days ago. So the Miller family got it. The atmosphere of the entire gala reached its climax as David took out the $600 million engagement ring and proposed to me. But at that moment, Chloe stepped forward with a cold laugh. I object to this marriage. Everyone looked at Chloe. David was somewhat annoyed, his gaze fixed on Chloe. What do you mean? David, don't misunderstand. I'm objecting to this marriage for your own good. Then Chloe triumphantly introduced herself to the crowd. Perhaps you all don't know about Sophia's dirty secrets. Today, I must introduce everyone to how ugly my good sister truly is. Please look at the big screen. At her signal, a video immediately began playing on the big screen. In the video, a man and a woman were disheveled, doing unspeakable things. Her intention, of course, was to ruin me in front of everyone. But as I watched this, my expression remained calm, and I even had a slight smile on my lips. The biggest change in expression, however, was Chloe's. Because the woman appearing in the video was not me, but Chloe, and besides her, there were also 3 men. Chapter 9. This was the second video I had sent to Ethan. The venue immediately erupted in an uproar. Whistles and sounds of surprise echoed from the crowd. Countless eyes focused on Chloe. Chloe's face was frozen in shock. How could this happen? How could this happen? Laughter came from the crowd. Didn't expect the second daughter of the Davis family to be so wild, battling 3 guys. Awesome! Ha ha ha. I heard Chloe went overseas to study and train. Didn't expect her to try in these things. How dirty. Stay away from this woman in the future. Who knows what diseases she might have from messing around outside. Chloe is really generous, inviting us to watch her scandal. Ha ha ha, truly worthy of the Davis family. Amidst the sounds of laughter, my father and Victoria's faces turned incredibly ugly. Chloe's face was pale. She never expected that the trap she set would become her own tomb. She quickly turned to my father and explained, "Dad, someone set me up." "Shut up." My father slapped Chloe hard across the face. "From today on, I don't have a daughter like you." Victoria still tried to persuade him, "Davis, something is fishy here. Chloe has always been well behaved. How could she be so reckless? Someone must be framing her. Davis, you can't believe this. How dare you even speak? You don't need to return to the Davis family either from now on." My father's face was as dark as Hades. He left Chloe and Victoria behind and walked away directly. Pfft! Chloe's mother couldn't bear the shock and spat out a mouthful of blood, fainting on the spot. Chloe, with red eyes, looked at me like a madwoman. "Sophia, you must have done this. You are too vicious." I smiled calmly. "Compared to you, this is nothing. You ruined me. I'll fight you." Chloe rushed towards me like a madwoman. However, she was stopped by Ethan and his friends who emerged from the crowd. "Ethan, move." Chloe glared at Ethan. Seeing Ethan unmoved, Chloe said, "Don't you like me? If you help me kill this bitch Sophia, I'll agree to be your woman. How about it?" The people around were amused by Chloe's words. Ethan's eyes were cold as he said word by word, "If you want revenge, come find me." I was the one who played this video. It was like cutting off Chloe's last lifeline. Ethan's words made Chloe's pupils contract. Her face filled with disbelief. Finally, she rushed towards Ethan like a madwoman, trying to fight him. But she was no match for him. Ethan dealt with her in a few moves and ordered someone to drag her away. Ethan resolved everything and walked towards David and me. He placed my hand in David's hand together and smiled. "Congratulations, brother. Congratulations, sister-in-law."